Hey guys, what's up? It's your boy, Splitting's back, and today, in this video, I'm going to be talking about things that I want Blizzard to change with Overwatch before Season 2. Not all of this can be, or will be changed before Season 2, but I do want all of this to be changed eventually, or at the very least some variation of it. And keep in mind, I'm not a game developer, so I don't know the exact way to code a game, obviously. However, I have been playing Overwatch for too long to count now, too long to keep track of. I'm basically a veteran Overwatch player, and I think most of these changes would be very good and beneficial to the game. So anyways, starting with the first overall change, I think Blizzard should stop Overwatch from punishing you for being good. It does this a lot in different ways. My first example is that in competitive, if you get the payload to the objective with less than a minute remaining, you get an extra minute to get the point. This makes sense. If you get to the objective with 10 seconds remaining, no way you're capturing it. I agree with that free minute. However, the winning team does not get a free minute. Both teams should get a minute. It is unfair that just because my team did better than yours, that you get compensated with a free minute. You're losing. You shouldn't just be able to get a minute catch back up. If team 1 gets to the point, with 2 minutes and 3 seconds, then team 2 does it with 10 seconds. Team 2 now has 1 minute and 10 seconds. They just caught up by a full minute. Just for free. How is that fair? I get that it's impossible to take objective in 10 seconds, so you need to give them that extra minute so they actually have a chance, but Team 1 should receive an extra minute just to keep things balanced. And another way that it punishes you for being good is the fact that multiple Grandmasters can't group up. Well, 2 can, but not more than 2. How is that fair? The whole reason this happened is because people who weren't queuing up with friends, or at the very least talking in mic, or with randoms and stuff, were getting, I'm forgetting the word right now, swept, or just floored by people who were queuing up as full teams. That is fair and balanced. Overwatch at its core is a team game. I understand that most first-person shooters aren't team games, but Overwatch is, and acting as a team is a key aspect of playing the game and being good at it. Okay? In a game like Overwatch, it is just as good as your movement, your mechanical skill, your ability usage, your aim, and your understanding of maps, your knowledge of the characters, their counters. Teamwork and the ability to work with others is just as important. Yeah, and things like TF2, teamwork is not nearly as important, despite it being a team game, as it is with Overwatch. And in a game like TF2, Fortnite, and other first-person shooters, well, Fortnite's not a first-person shooter, but shooters in general, and first-person shooters, mechanical skill, positioning, things like everything I just named is very important, except teamwork. Teamwork being important is something that's unique to Overwatch, and being good at teamwork is not something you should get punished for. It doesn't encourage you to be good at it, despite having it as a core game mechanic. So anyways, moving on. I definitely think a lot of characters need reworks. One of them is Symmetra. I know she's been through a lot of reworks, but she is still just in a bad place right now. She's a horrible pick in high elos, and in lower elos, she's just annoying, No matter where you are in the entire game, she's just never good. Her entire usage is out of her turrets, and as long as you're even semi-competent, you can deal with those easily. So I just think that the turrets need to either be majorly reworked or removed. I think maybe something closer to Torb's turret, but then again, I don't want to take away from Torb's identity, and I don't want to remove Symmetra's identity as a character. What I was thinking is, back in Overwatch 1, well, not in all of Overwatch 1, but in the first year of Overwatch 1, not the full first year, but when Overwatch 1 originally released, don't remember how long she had this ability for, she had to physically place down her turrets like Torb. She couldn't just throw them halfway across the map. I think that's more fair, and I think they should remove the slowness altogether and just increase their damage, and also probably make them bigger and make more sound. So they're easier to see, they're easier to hit, they're easier to hear, but they do more damage, and they're not as annoying. And she has to actively use them. She can't just spam them into a choke point. She has to actively think about where she's placing them, and put herself in danger if she wants to place it in a good location. So I think that'd be much more balanced and much more fair. And I know that a lot of characters need buffs, a lot of characters need nerfs. Soldier needs nerfs, no questions. No one's even going to argue with me there. But one tank that in particular definitely needs buffs in my opinion is Reinhardt. He's definitely middle of the pack for tanks, but he just definitely needs some damage buffs. His survivability is great with a high health pool, most of it being armor and a shield. His survivability and utility, spectacular. However, going into Overwatch 2, they nerfed both his fireball damage and his charge damage. They compensated for it in other ways, but I don't think they should have done that, because now it's really hard for him to have the sheer damage output to get rid of people, you know? Like, for example, Fireball does 90 now instead of 100. I understand he has 2, but how rarely do you land both Fireballs on one full health character just to kill them? That rarely happens. It would not be OP for him to have 100. I think it'd be more balanced and make him more usable, and his charge should go back to being 300. In case you don't know, they nerfed his charge from being 300 damage to 225. Why? There are so many characters that he cannot kill now because of that. Reaper, Mei, Bastion, and a lot of the tanks he's less effective against. And all 3 characters I just named have ways of dealing with it where you can't just immediately swing. Reaper can Wraith, Mei can wall and go in her cryo icicle thing, and Bastion can go into turret form. You know? So it's just not fair at all. Ryan no longer has the sheer DPS output that he used to have. And I'm not positive on this one because I didn't see it in any patch notes or anything, but I think they silently made his charge hitbox smaller. I am positive. I just honestly feel like that. Maybe I'm crazy. Maybe it's copium for just myself as a Ryan main, but I honestly think that they did. Oh, and another good idea for him would be to make his charge infinite. In Overwatch 1, that would have been an iffy thing, but now that he can cancel it, giving it infinite distance would be really good. However, I understand that could be really OP, so maybe when I'm listing out a lot of changes for characters, I'm not saying all at once, maybe a combination or variation of them to keep them balanced. I understand that unlimited charge distance for one charge, not that he can charge forever, but just from one charge, would increase his movement by a lot, allow him to get to objective much quicker. So I can see why that'd be extremely overpowered. You know, I'm not positive it would be. I don't think we would really know until we started playing with it. Because on paper it sounds okay. Maybe not infinite, but maybe just increase it. That could also work. And I think another character that should have a rework is Junkrat. Right now, his character's a niche pick. It's not the worst. It's not Doomfist or Hammond or Symmetra throw pick. But he has his niche uses, you know? So I think a rework to him would be good. Not direct buffs, because he doesn't need direct buffs, but not nerfs either. I think nerfing his primary fire would be good, so then he's not just a spammy character, and maybe give him one more mine, so then, you know, he's less of a spammy character and more of a strategically using your mine. Because right now, I'm not Junkrat main, but I know a good strategy is keep one mine for damage, and then keep one mine for movement, and at all times try to have at least one mine on you, so then if a monkey hops on you or D.Va flies at you, you can just use that mine to displace yourself and the enemy coming at you so you can get away easier. But by giving him a third mine, I think it would give him more damage output but he has to be smart with it, and he's not just a spammy character. And another idea would be allow him to place multiple mines at once. That might be a little bit OP, especially if you still also gave him 3, but just putting that out there. And another thing that's really unfair is matches canceling if a person leaves. I understand that having a leaver in competitive sucks, and there's nothing you can do about it. But I think maybe a good idea would be either play out the match, and in the end, the winning team gets the benefit of having a win, and the losing team just gets no change since there was a leaver. Or, as soon as there's a leaver, the team with the leaver doesn't change, their competitive rank doesn't change, well, not just rank, but their SR won't change at all, while the other team gets win points for SR. Now, I might be saying, well, that's unfair, they didn't actually win. But I don't think it's unfair for one simple reason. 99% of the time, people who leave in the first minute and 30 seconds, that's the time frame for a match to be canceled, leave because in those minute and 30 seconds, they are losing. For example, the amount of times I've been holding people, comes to mind, Route 66, right away where they're holding the payload, or a minute, 20 seconds in, they haven't moved the payload even a millimeter, and usually by then, they would have gotten a good push and moved it further. Someone says, okay, well, there's no point to playing this match, and leaves. Well, that's unfair. I was 100% going to win. There was no doubt about it. You can make an argument, they make a comeback, maybe they would have. But the point is that my team was winning in that moment, but because they had a leaver, I didn't get credit for what should have been a win. So I think the best case scenario is that the leaver gets a loss and penalized, probably banned from competitive for a bit, and then everyone else in that match gets a win for SR. Now, that might cause people to climb ranks higher, but I don't think so. Anyways, moving on. The next thing I'd like to mention is that we need lower prices in the shops, or at the very least, more fair prices. I think prices should go on a skin-by-skin basis rather than rarity, if that makes any sense. Because some legendary skins are like, yeah, that looks legendary. While some legendary skins are like, nah, that's like $5, And in general, I honestly think that if they lowered the prices overall, they'd make more money because more people would be willing to buy it. I see very little people buying it. It seems like mass majority say, no, I'm not forking over $20 for that. Whereas if they did made it 10 or 5, there'd be far more. If you guys don't know anything about business, which I'm not sure if you do or not, because I don't know you, obviously, but there's supply and demand, and then there's how much you can make and how much you sell it for and how many people buy it for how much you sell it. So for example, if you're selling a painting for $20 and I can make 5 of these paintings and sell them each for $20, but only one person is willing to buy it for that price because everyone else looks at it and goes, oh, that painting is not worth $20. I just made $20, which is nice, but I'd rather have sold my 4 paintings also, so I should lower the price. If I lower it to 5, and all 5 of those people say, wow, that painting's worth $5 and buy it, I just made $5 extra. And of course, there's more that goes into it, oh, well, I had to pay for paint and stuff like that. And yeah, they do have to pay their art team to make the skins, and then I imagine that there's a different team to code the skins into the game. Again, I'm not a game developer, and I don't work for Blizzard, but I'd imagine that those be 2 separate teams. However, once they do that, they can make infinite. Therefore, they don't really need to worry about cost of supplies other than just sheer manpower from employees, basically. But the point is that if they sold it for lower prices, I think more people would buy it, and enough people to make up for the fact that they're selling it at a lower price to overall make more money. And I honestly believe that. I'm not just saying that from the side of a consumer that wants it at a lower price. I honestly think they'd make more money. But of course, if they haven't changed the prices by now, I must be wrong. The numbers must disagree with me. But speaking of numbers, you know what Overwatch development team has their face in numbers and only the numbers? The balancing team. I swear, they only look at pick rates, win rates, and stuff like that, and what the Overwatch League uses. Because they're so bad at balancing decisions, they don't actually look at streamers and videos or probably not even actual gameplay clips. I swear to God, they just look at the numbers because they make balance changes that don't need to happen. Do you know why Sojourn didn't get a nerf? Because she's underperforming the lower elos. She's only being a must pick in the higher ones. And rather than changing that, because they're looking at the higher elo streams and stuff, they just look at the numbers and go, oh, yeah, she has a kind of lower win rate overall, so we're not going to nerf her. I'm sorry, I keep coughing all of a sudden. Got a dry throat. But yeah, and I think the most prominent example of this right now is the most common meme you see everywhere. Oh, nerf Genji. You see it on Twitch, you see it on YouTube, you see it on Twitter, you see it on TikTok, you see it in comments of all of those. Overwatch 2 releases a trailer on Twitter. Look in the comments, you're going to see nerf Genji. Someone posts a TikTok about Overwatch 2, going to see nerf Genji. Look in the YouTube video, you're going to see nerf Genji. Probably not this one, because I don't think it'll get enough views for people to actually comment that. But still, and it's a meme because Genji did not need to be nerfed, and everyone agrees. And even if you say he did, they nuked him so badly where he's more of a throw pick now. Moving on to our next topic, I think the next thing should be to bring back 2CP, but fix it. Okay, I'm not crazy. Fix 2CP. I think it's sad that we have this admittedly mediocre game mode. Mediocre might be a bit generous. That with all these really cool maps and stuff, if you're playing a lot of Overwatch, sometimes it can feel repetitive. So having another game mode with more maps would be really cool. On a side note, totally side note, get rid of the map pools so there's less repeating maps, so games feel less repetitive. That'd be pretty good. I'm sure you guys already assumed that I wanted that though, because everyone thinks that's a bad idea. Way to fix 2CP? Yeah, I'm not sure. Maybe change the locations of the objectives on the maps? Maybe make different respawn times so it's more fair, or maybe make them respawn in different locations. Maybe make the attackers respawn closer than they used to. Just a couple different ideas, but not positive on anything. But I just think it's really sad that we have this cool game mode with cool maps that just unfortunately isn't in the game right now, other than, arcade and custom games if you want to make one. I also think they could alter the maps themselves, like I said, alter spawn points and where the objectives are, but maybe other things to make it better for 5v5 and I don't know, just other stuff too. And one more thing is that to fix push. I really like push as a concept on paper. However, it feels really unfair. Even when I'm winning, I still feel like it's unfairly. Because there's just no way that you can catch up in push. And you gotta win so many maps, so many fights to catch up. And a lot of the time they're actively pushing the robot, you are not pushing your objective at all, which means that a lot of the time that you are in control of the robot, you are not gaining any progress, meaning that you are not getting any closer to winning. That feels unfair. Now, I have a couple different ideas. Again, change spawn points. Maybe make it so the team that's losing spawns closer, so it's more fair. Maybe make the robot walk even faster than when it's not at the objective, so then there's less time. I'm just trying to come up with different ideas here. I don't have the exact solution for everything, but I don't want to just point at a problem, say it's a problem without actively trying to come up with a solution for it. I know that my solutions aren't perfect, or the best, but, just want to come up with something. And I think that the last thing I gotta say is overtime. Overtime is horrible. Even when I win just because of overtime, I don't like it. First things first, the time ran out. You lost. Accept it. You don't get overtime. That being said, though, sometimes there's where you're in control of the objective and the time runs out. So I understand the use of overtime there. Maybe a good rework for overtime is the moment that it's contested, the objective, overtime goes away. Like, think about it. I think that there are times where, like, on payload maps where the attackers win a team fight and the payload is less than 5 meters away. Overtime works there because no attacker is going to be able to contest at them within that time, But if they have the entire map to go, or like a entire area to the next objective to go, then overtime is just not only a waste of time, but feels unfair as well. It's like, okay, you guys lost, accept it. So I think overtime should keep happening for the attackers until the defenders can contest it that very second. And I understand that might be a little bit, maybe, I don't want to say unfair, but maybe there might be a bit more balancing that's needed there. But right now, overtime just feels so unfair when you're on the defending side. It's like, we did a good job defending you, and because the game's just favoring you because you're losing right now. Just so you guys can win, Like, that just really sucks. And I think on King of the Hill maps, overtime just, like, shouldn't exist unless that they're actively contending. Same thing, and is it, I don't know how to describe it, but how it always stops at 99% and then they manage to take it over? That happens so often. That shouldn't happen. It should rarely happen, at least much less than it currently does. And so I think that's why that if they're contending it for even a second, then overtime should just go away. And I don't want to say that there's no attackers on the point if there's a defender on the point, regardless of the amount of attackers. I think they make more overtime more fair and less of, oh, the attackers are losing. Okay, well, here you guys are, so you're not losing. Anyways, that's all the changes I want to Overwatch. It's definitely been a longer video for me, possibly my longest video. I don't know the exact amounts of my video, but yeah, definitely the longest. Just look at the time, nearly 23 minutes. But anyways, that's all for now. I think if Overwatch makes these changes soon, if Blizzard changes them with Overwatch soon, the game will be in a lot better state, more balanced, and more fun for everybody. And there'll be more content for us to enjoy as well. Anyways, that's all for now. I hope you all have a great and wonderful day, and see you next time.